I'm so glad that we're able to meet up tonight and all the way across the country as well. You know, in my day, we couldn't have done anything like this.
Yeah, people talk about that a lot. I have a question for you.
Yes?
So, when you were first born, well, not like that, but when you heard about the whole president business, how is it like to want to be a president when you grow up?
Well, you know, I wasn't able to want to be a president when I grew up until I grew up, because there was no such thing as a president of the United States when I was your age.
Yes, I was. So when I was in France, between 1784 and 1789, and the Constitutional Convention happened right in the middle there, in 1787. And that's when the presidency of the United States was created. So I was an adult already. The Revolutionary War was over, and I was representing America. When I left to go represent America in France, there was no president. When I came back, there was a president. Or at least this kind of a job of president.
You mean George Washington?
He wasn't president yet when I left, but when I came back, he had been elected president.
But I mean, there was no office of the presidency until we created it, and I was already an adult by the time that was created as an office. So when I was a little boy, I didn't want to be president. It wasn't something I could have wanted. You know, if I had really been able to live the life that I'd wanted to live, I would have been a farmer and have just a little bit of land and have my books, my science books, and be able to read and study my science books and do experiments. And have friends visit sometimes on my farm and play my music. I play violin. I wouldn't have gone into politics, but well, sometimes things, they take on their own direction.
Makes sense. Do you
think you might want to be president someday?
No, too much work.
No, too much work.
Do you have
It is too much work.
I was wondering, did you know George Washington back in the day?
I did know George Washington.
Though he didn't let people get to know him very well. He was a very private man. He's very quiet. I first met George Washington when I began serving in government back in when Virginia was a colony. Now Virginia is a state, just like California. But Virginia was a colony. We were part of the British Empire. And the government of Virginia was called the House of Burgesses. It's like a House of Representatives. I began serving there, and George Washington was already serving there. He was older than me. And I worked with him in the House of Representatives, well, the House of Burgesses, in Williamsburg, Virginia. But then I worked with him on and off over the years. He was the general of our armies, and I corresponded with him from Congress. Then I corresponded with him when I was governor of Virginia. And then I worked with him again when I was Secretary of State and he was president. And then I retired and didn't work with him anymore. But we knew each other for a very long time.
Ooh, seems interesting.
Very interesting.